Number 5, legal professionals. Law concentrates its serious money in specific areas, and the gap between average and exceptional in this profession is wider than almost anywhere else. Corporate and commercial lawyers at the top tier firms, Allens, Herbert Smith Freehills, King and Wood Mallisons, earn around $300,000 at senior associate level. Equity partners draw somewhere between $700,000 and $900,000 when profit distributions are included. Barristers at the senior end, King's Counsel in commercial litigation and tax, run independent practices billing by the day. A busy silk typically earns $600,000 to $800,000. Tax lawyers advising large corporates sit at a profitable intersection of legal and financial expertise that consistently commands a premium. General counsel at major ASX companies typically earn around $500,000 in total compensation. The caveat is time. Partnership takes 15 or more years from admission, but for those who reach the senior end of commercial practice, the financial outcome is exceptional. Number 4, engineering and resources. Australia runs on resources, and the people who run those operations are among the highest paid professionals in the country. Senior mining and petroleum engineers in Western Australia and Queensland typically earn base salaries around $250,000, with side allowances and bonuses pushing total packages to $380,000 to $420,000 on major projects. Petroleum engineers, specifically the specialists behind Australia's LNG export industry, sit at the top of the technical pay scale, with experienced practitioners earning around $450,000 in total compensation. Project directors running major capital programs typically earn $400,000 to $500,000. The people who can deliver complex multi-billion-dollar projects at scale are genuinely rare, and the market pays accordingly. At the executive level, general managers and operations directors at major mining companies typically sit around $600,000 to $700,000 in total packages. The sector is cyclical. In a strong commodity environment, these figures hold. In a downturn, they compress. Mobility, the willingness to go where the work is, separates the top earners from the rest. Number 3, finance and investment. At the top end of Australian financial services, the numbers become serious. Vice presidents in investment banking at Goldman Sachs, Macquarie, and Morgan Stanley typically earn base salaries around $350,000, with bonuses in strong transaction years pushing total compensation towards $600,000 to $700,000. Managing directors typically earn around $900,000 to $1,100,000 in an active market. Macquarie Group sits in its own category in the Australian context. The profit share model running through its operating groups has produced more individual incomes above $1 million in this market than any other institution. Senior portfolio managers at the major superannuation funds, Australian Super, Aware Super, typically earn $400,000 to $500,000, a figure that has risen sharply as funds under management have grown and competition for genuine investment talent has intensified. Private equity in Australia is smaller than the US equivalent, but growing. Senior partners at successful funds earn through management fees and carried interest, and in a year where a fund performs and distributions are made, total income can reach $1 million to $1,500,000. Senior quants and derivatives, specialists at major banks and hedge funds typically earn around $400,000 to $500,000 with performance components on top. Number 2, specialist doctors. Medicine was always going to appear on this list. The question is which specialties, because the gap between a general practitioner and a high-volume private surgeon is enormous. Anaesthetists with full private practices typically earn around $700,000. The billing in private hospitals is substantial and consistent, and demand is structural, given the volume of elective surgery performed in Australia annually. Interventional cardiologists performing procedures on the heart, stenting, ablations, structural interventions. typically earn $750,000 to $850,000. The procedural billing is where the serious income lives. Ophthalmologists running high-volume cataract and refractive surgery practices have built some of the most financially efficient operations in Australian medicine. The procedures are relatively short, the demand from an aging population is only growing, and a well-run practice generates around $700,000 to $800,000 for the principal surgeon. Neurosurgeons sit at the very top of the surgical pay scale. Training takes 14 or more years from medical school to independent practice. A consultant neurosurgeon with a private practice in a major city typically earns around $1 million to $1,100,000. The combination of extreme technical complexity, the length of training, and genuine scarcity drives the compensation to a level that sits above almost every other clinical specialty. Orthopedic surgeons performing joint replacements in private hospitals typically earn $600,000 to $700,000. Private plastic surgeons in cosmetic work can produce higher figures depending on volume and market positioning. The pattern across all high-earning medical specialties is the same: private practice. The public system pays well, but not exceptionally. The income gap opens in private, where billing is direct and volume drives everything. Getting here costs something real. 12 to 16 years from the start of medical school to independent specialist practice. The deferred income, the debt, and the sustained intensity of training are costs that the final salary does not fully capture. Number 1, senior executives of major companies. Nothing else in the Australian income landscape sits where this does. CEOs of large ASX-listed companies, the top 50 by market capitalization, earn total remuneration packages, typically running from $4 million to $8 million, when base salary, short-term incentives, and long-term equity are combined. The CEOs of the major banks, major retailers, and major resources companies earn figures that place them in a category entirely separate from every other profession on this list. But that pool is small. 50 large companies, 50 CEOs. The more relevant band is the layer directly below. Chief financial officers, chief operating officers, and divisional CEOs at major ASX companies typically earn total compensation around $1,500,000 to $2,500,000. These roles are more numerous and represent a realistic destination for ambitious professionals coming from finance, law, or general management. General managers and senior vice presidents at large multinationals operating in Australia, the local heads of major global banks, technology companies, and professional services firms typically earn $600,000 to $900,000. Serious income without requiring the top job at a listed company. The path to this category does not follow a single discipline. The backgrounds of Australia's highest earning executives spread across finance, law, engineering, and commerce. What they share is not a qualification. It is a track record of delivering results at scale, combined with the ability to operate at the intersection of strategy, people, and commercial pressure simultaneously. That combination is rare, and rare in any functioning market is exceptionally well compensated. The honest observation underneath all 5 of these categories is the same. The highest incomes in Australia do not come from working harder than everyone else. They come from acquiring skills and positioning that are genuinely scarce, that take years to build, and that solve problems organizations are willing to pay a significant premium to have solved. Time, specialization, and positioning. Those 3 things compounded over a long enough career are what separate the top of the income distribution from the middle. Hit the like button if this gave you something useful, and subscribe for more. I will see you in the next one.